You think your home is safe. You lock the doors, you draw the blinds, and you believe you're secure. But what if that feeling is just a story you tell yourself? What if reality itself is, well, thinner than you think? Tonight, we're looking at the cracks in the world, the true stories that show just how fragile it all is.
Because it turns out the biggest threat isn't always the thing trying to break in. Sometimes it's already inside, hiding right there in plain sight. We're going to dive into these chilling psychological traps, these setups that are engineered to exploit you when your guard is all the way down. So our first story kicks off with a young woman, early 20s, kind of shy. She's just trying to earn a little cash doing some dog sitting. The job takes her to this sleepy little town in Illinois, to a house that, well, from the outside it looked perfectly normal. But it was anything but.
The couple who hired her sold firearms out of their house. Okay, maybe a little weird, but not a deal breaker. No, the really unsettling part was how they acted. They wouldn't make eye contact. Instead, they'd just give her this slow, deliberate head-to-toe scan, like they were measuring her up for something. And it definitely wasn't for her dog-sitting skills.
In the house, man, it was wired for surveillance. Cameras in the kitchen, the hallways, the garage, literally everywhere. They said it was for insurance? Sure. But then, on the second night, things get strange. The driveway camera, the one watching the only road in or out, it just goes offline.
That's when the dogs just lose it. They start barking like crazy, just staring into the dark woods. Feeling totally exposed, she does the only thing she can think of. She drags a big, heavy chair over the doggy door. It's not much, but it's something. She eventually drifts off, only to wake up later to find that her little barricade is gone. The chair has been moved. And look, it wasn't just bumped out of the way. It was lifted and moved a full 5 feet, set down perfectly in a corner. And this is the part that'll make your skin crawl. The dogs were tiny. There is no way they could have moved it, which means only one thing. Someone else was in that house while she was asleep. And then, right on cue, at 2 in the morning, her phone buzzes. It's a text from the wife who's supposed to be hundreds of miles away in Florida. The message? Don't worry, you're safe. I mean, come on, who says that? That's the least reassuring thing you could possibly hear. And then comes the next text. Check the garage.
Her heart is just hammering against her ribs. She opens the door to the pitch-black garage, and she sweeps the flashlight from her phone across the room. And just for a second, the beam catches it. It's the outline of a grown man in a jacket, squatting behind a box, just waiting. She didn't hesitate. She ran, slammed her car in reverse, and drove straight to the police station. And here's the twist. Here's where it all clicks into place. The police find the couple. They'd been there the whole time, parked just down the driveway. They shut off that camera themselves. Why? To watch her, to see how she'd react. They were testing her. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was a setup, a carefully planned, terrifying experiment.
Okay, so if that story was about psychological games, this next one is something else entirely. We're leaving the suburbs and heading deep into the isolated wilderness. It's more primal. It's about a logger and his friend working these brutal 20-hour shifts on a remote mountain completely alone.
Out there, in the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, their only link to anyone was a two-way radio. But pretty soon, that lifeline became a source of pure dread. They started hearing this strange, scrambled chatter. And the weirdest part? It followed them. No matter what channel they switched to, it was there. That's not supposed to be possible. Something was out there with them, and it was close.
They decided to search the area, and they found a tent hidden away in the trees. And what they found inside, it confirmed every single one of their fears. Rolls of duct tape, coils of rope, and a stack of photographs of children. They had just walked straight into a predator's hunting ground.
That night, the terror came for them. Right at midnight, the handle on their camper door starts to jiggle. Before they can even process what's happening, the door flies open. A figure lunges inside, and in the chaos, the logger is slashed across the face with a knife.
He actually survived the attack, but the injury left his vision permanently damaged. But the story doesn't stop there. 2 weeks later, another guy working at that same site was found murdered in a ditch, and nobody was ever caught. The predator in the woods was just gone. This next one, this is a straight-up glitch in the Matrix. It's one of the most bizarre suburban mysteries I've ever come across. It's all about a guy named Kevin and his neighbor, Damon, who was secretive, to say the least.
So get this, it's 2 a.m. on a men's day, and it sounds like an epic party is raging next door. We're talking loud music, cars everywhere, people laughing and shouting. Kevin's had enough, so he goes over to tell them to keep it down. He finds the front door unlocked, walks right in, and is met with absolute dead silence. No party, no cars, no people. It was all a recording, playing on a loop.
But then he hears a weird noise coming from downstairs, so he creeps down to the basement. And what he finds is way more disturbing than a fake party. There are 3 older guys, all wearing rubber gloves, using some kind of heavy machinery, and the entire room just reeks of bleach, an overpowering chemical smell.
Kevin got out of there fast, and by the next morning, it was like nothing ever happened. The phantom cars, the men in the basement, all vanished. He asked the other neighbors if they heard the party, and every single one of them said no. They claimed they didn't hear a sound. It was this bizarre conspiracy of silence around a night that somehow both did and did not happen.
All right, for our last story, we're heading to a foreclosed house in upstate New York. A property worker was there just to clear the place out, and he experienced something that, well, it just flat out defies the laws of physics.
So he's in the middle of working and his cell phone rings. He looks at the screen and it clearly says no signal, but it's ringing. He answers it, and all he hears is this faint, crackly whisper that says one specific thing. Don't answer the phone in the bedroom.
Totally weirded out, he goes into the master bedroom to see what's going on, and sitting there on a nightstand is this old, clunky, rotary phone. But here's the thing. The cord isn't just unplugged from the wall. It has been physically cut, severed. It's a dead object, a prop. And then it happens. The dead phone starts to ring. Not a digital sound. That loud, jarring mechanical bell, just echoing through this empty, silent house. A phone with no power, no connection to anything, was getting a call. How is that possible?
But that's not even the craziest part. Later, down in the basement, he finds the final piece of this whole insane puzzle. It's a notebook, and inside are names and dates. It's a log, keeping track of who is in the house and whether or not they answered that impossible phone call. The last entry was for someone named Lena H. It said, July 3rd, rang once, didn't answer.
So what are we looking at here? From setups designed to test a person's breaking point, to elaborate fakeouts meant to hide something awful, to phone calls that just shouldn't be possible. They all point to a really unsettling truth, that we're not always as in control as we think we are. It's a reminder that the world doesn't always play by the rules we understand. So it makes you wonder, right? What glitches are happening around you? What shadows are you ignoring? Lock your doors. But more importantly, stay aware.